This online course will discuss and cover all the subject about concrete and steel structures quality control, all the quality control methods, technique, and tools, and up-to-date techniques that are using until now on site to have a good quality control for even concrete or steel structures. All this online course, it will be covered through my book, Concrete and Steel Construction Quality Control and Assurance, because I found that for the bigger project or mega project or even for industrial projects and power generation projects, oil and gas, and also residential project, we have concrete and steel structure in the same. Civil engineer, a structural engineer, it will be focused for the concrete structure. The steel structure, the design, it will be done by the structural engineer, but most of the construction, about around 80% or 70% will be a mechanical engineer because it related to erection, installation, related to welding process, and so on. So we have some shortage of information about the steel structures, and also we need to follow the quality control for the both, because at the end you have your be project engineering, project manager, construction manager. You should be responsible for the both. The quality control is the backbone for any successful structures. The reputation of any project, it will be covered by the good quality control on the site. So I try for this course describe all the tools that will be covered to be comprehensive course to cover all about the concrete quality control and the steel quality control. I'll focus here about the quality control only for this to provide you all the tool from practical point of view with a strong theoretical background. You can see the references for the STM or the European or the DEN and whatever to if you need to make to read more about any subject. In another way for this course, I will focus about the welding procedure, welding type. As we mentioned, we have some glue or some cloud about the welding. I need to clarify here to be clear for everyone. The first important subject about the concrete quality control, because we have the material, we need to control about the material itself. What about the construction process, the boring, as you can see the photo of the boring, how can you make quality control through all the process of the concrete structures. And how can you control it according to the checkpoints? The checkpoint, it will be through the test, compression test for the cube or the cylinder. What about the steps? It calls a standard test should be so it should be done according to the standards, because at the end if it will not be done as a professional, as a standard, maybe it will be a more debate, more waste of time with negotiation, with debate between the owner, the contractor, the consultant, and so on. So the QC should be very strong, have very strong knowledge, have very trusted what he is doing, know what about the is doing. He have an experience to by eyes define if the concrete is good or not good, and so on. So the test, it will be done by video and by photo and by explanations. Slump test, compressor test for cube and the cylinder, and define what about the difference between them. The flow table in case of using high strength concrete or self compacted concrete. And also we use about the test for the steel bar. The steel bar should be governed by the yield, failure ultimate strength, about the yield, and also the elongation. According to what about the tests that be done, how can we do it, and also how can we compare it with the specification and the standard and we have. Also there are some tests called non-destructive testing. It will be done maybe in the project specification. Maybe if we have some doubt about the quality, it will be done by the concrete according to the type of the project and so on. Like the non-destructive test, like the Schmidt hammer, rebound hammer, core test, ultrasonic test, lock test, the another way of the measuring about the concrete thickness and so on. So all the instructive test, which is pros and cons, it will be discussed and define what about how can you read the output, how can you make assessment about the output, and all this it will be covered by this course, because the concrete have many variation, many parameters should be controlled during the project itself. For the steel structures, we have two directions. The main item receiving the material, we have to do some sort of receiving the material. So we need to receive this material according to be follow the specification. But really the most of the failure of the structure, of the steel structure, around 80 or 85% of the structure failure worldwide is due to the connection. Connection is very critical. And it is worth to mention that around 45% to 50% of the structure of the steel structure cost in the connection, from the design, fabrications, and constructions. So we should have a more care about the connection. So we have many sessions discuss about in detail about the type of the connections, how can we follow it. We have two types of connection, bolted connection and welded connection. And sure, maybe some connection have a mix. Maybe some connection have bolted and welding, and we will describe it through the course itself. Okay, the bolted connection, we need to define what about the different type of the bolt. What about the bolt type? How can distinguish between them? What about the QC and be applied as the construction manager? What you are looking for? How can you, construction manager or the site engineer or whatever, how can you make a check by eyes about the quality of the connection itself? I mention again, the connection is very, very critical. Then we go to through about the type of the welding. We need to define what about the type of the welding, what about the difference between them, what we are using is the steel structure. And also we discuss about the symbol of the welding. How can we read the symbol of the welding itself? As I mentioned, maybe you have some crew from the mechanical engineer who is responsible about the fabrication and so on. But you are as a structure engineer, you at the end you make the design. And we present in the score what about the design that we're presenting, what about the fabrication men who are responsible for fabrication and direction understands the drawing of the welding. So I need to see it from the two paradigm, from the steel structure design and from the construction on the site about it. And also we need to define about the welding inspection, what about the welding inspector of the site, what about the quality, what about the WBS and so on. How can we know about the quality of the welding, what about the type of the test itself. When you go to about the type of the test, we need to define about the most famous non-destructive examination for the metal in general. This it will be a 5 methods, which is VT visual inspection, BT dye penetrate inspection, magnetic particle inspection, UT ultrasonic inspection, RT radiographic inspections. You can see here in the photo in the left about the UT inspection. From the UT we can define about the inside the material. How can we define if the inside material it will be some problem, some cracks and so on. And also all these 5 members can use for any metal, but we use it here for the steel structure to define about the quality of the steel and also the quality of the welding itself. Visual inspection, dye penetrate, magnetic particle are using, but it will be inspect the surface of the welding itself. We need to go through about the depth of the welding should be done through the UT ultrasonic inspection and RT. And we have two types, X-ray and gamma rays. We have some sort of manufacturing using X-ray, and we discuss about it in the course, and another we use a gamma ray during the construction. And also we presented what about the cause and bronze for each type. For this, what about the cost between them, how can we do it, how can we read the data from it. It's very important and very critical. And also we presented the up-to-date method of the inspections. This is very important to define about the welding, and also we present about the welding inspection and how it will be reflecting the design itself. What about the type of the welding, SMAW, CAW, MIG, and so on. SMAW, all this it will be presented through the course with the 5 methods for non-destructive examinations. Okay, as the construction manager at the end, or the site engineer, or even when you make the design, you have the feeling what about the site can understand your drawing and so on. So all this it will be presented in this course to cover the quality control for the concrete element and for the steel structure element. So at the end you have a comprehensive technique, tools, when we use and how and what we will use, what is the best between all the alternative of the tests that will be done, who read, how can we read the data, and so on. It will be presented in this course. And at the end of the course, for the part of the steel structure, you will receive an ebook about the steel structure, about the symbols of the welding, about the test of the welding, and so on, as a free with the course to be with your hand as a handbook when you're dealing with this project online. So at the end, I wish you have a good course, and I wish it will be benefit this course for you to have a good quality control, or you have a professional way for dealing with the quality control when you are working on site, to know the tools that you have in your hand and how can you use it, how can you utilize it in best way. Thank you, and if you have any question, let me know at any time. Thanks a lot.